Okay, so welcome back to Stu's Music Quiz. We're in lockdown again, aren't we? But it's not going to stop us from enjoying ourselves and reminiscing about a bit of music from the past, all the way back to 1965. Today, the year that West Ham won the European Cup Winners' Cup. That's what most people remember it for, of course. 50 questions, as always. Have your pen and pencil ready? See how you get going on it. Don't forget, at the same time, we do have an answers post that you can check things out on. But it's not just finding out how you've done. At the same time, I can give you a few interesting facts, if I know any, about the pieces that we've got. And of course, it provides you with some listening recommendations, and particularly if you are taking part in, and if you are not taking part in it, you should be. Richard Shaw's 3 albums from a year, which of course this week is 1965. Plenty of examples here that might just help you get used to that year. Okay, let's start with a trivia question, and nearly always our trivia question. The biggest selling single of the year in the UK in 1965. Was it A, The Carnival Is Over by the Seekers? Was it B, Day Tripper, backed with We Can Work It Out by the Beatles? Was it C, Tears by Ken Dodd? Or was it D, You've Lost That Loving Feeling by the Righteous Brothers? And a second question, the biggest selling album of the year in the UK. Rubber Soul by the Beatles. Was it Help by the Beatles? Or was it The Sound of Music, the original soundtrack? Or was it Mary Poppins, the original soundtrack? 2 Beatles, 2 original soundtracks. What do you think? Trivia number 3. While I take another drink. 5 very nice Australian Shiraz I'm enjoying here as I go along. So in 65, Luxembourg won the Eurovision Song Contest with a great song, the song Poupée de Cire, Poupée de Son. How's that French pronunciation? Probably rubbish, but never mind. Performed by France Gall. It was written for her by a French pop star of the 60s. Which one? Was it Jacques Brel? Was it Johnny Hallyday? Or was it Claude Francois? Serge Gainsbourg, Jacques Brel, Johnny Hallyday, or Claude Francois? One of those wrote the song Poupée de Cire, Poupée de Son. Okay, trivia question number 4. On May the 8th, the Billboard Top 10 had the most singles from the British Commonwealth ever. How many of the American Billboard Top 10 were from the British Commonwealth? Peak of the British invasion, eh? Okay, 4 trivia questions for you this week before we move on to the connections round. So here we are with 4 artists for you who are all pretty successful in 65. On the left is a group of boys there you might not know called the Beatles. Just to their top right was Jerry and the Pacemakers. Bless Jerry Marsden, of course, who we lost this week. Beneath them is Billy J. And on the right, Cilla Black. What's the connection between these 4 artists of 1965? Another connections round, another Beatles round for you. What do these 4 acts have in common? What did these 4 acts all do in 65? On the left, we've got the Dave Clark 5. Feeling glad all over, aren't they? Just down to their right, we've got the ever serious Freddie and the Dreamers. It's those Beatles again. And on the right is the wonderful Joe Brown. What have those 4 got in common that they all did in 65? As I always say at this point with these ones here, do feel free, of course, I move through quite quickly, do feel free to pause. It's not cheating to take a bit of extra time. There's no timing on this one. Okay, here's your connections one here. Right, we have again 4 acts here. What do they have in common in 65? We have Cher on the left-hand side. We have Dylan at the top. We have them underneath. And on the right, we have the Walker Brothers. What do those 4 have in common in 65? And number 8, we have an odd one out for you. Look at these 4 like-looking lads. It's like a Usual Suspects lineup, isn't it? Really. These, of course, are 4 of our Rolling Stones: Jagger, Jones, Jagger, Richards, Jones, and Wyman, from left to right. Now, they had a bit of a problem in 65. The Stones were arrested for urinating on a petrol. Apparently, they asked to use the toilet and were told no, so they decided to use the wall instead. Now, 3 of these Stones were arrested for their peeing incident. Who wasn't? Which one of these 4 was not arrested for peeing up a petrol station wall? Was it Mick Jagger? Was it Keith Richards? Was it Brian Jones? Or was it Bill Wyman? Okay, onto our lyrics round. Now, this is causing consternation. It's difficult. He normally asks you to finish off some lyrics. I'm not going to do that for you this week because I'm a nice guy. Well, sort of. Anyway, I'm going to give you some lyrics here, and I'm just going to ask you to name the song from the lyrics. The 65 song from the lyrics. So, starting with, and then she asks me, why don't I come to her flat and have some supper and let the evening pass by digging records beside a groovy hi-fi? Has to be 65. Is used unironically. Then she asks me, why don't I come to her flat and have some supper and let the evening pass by digging records beside a groovy hi-fi? What song are those lyrics from? All big hits, these, of course. Number 10. I smoke old stogies I've found, short but not too big around. I'm a man of means. I smoke old stogies I've found, short but not too. I'm a man of means. Number 11. Every sinner looks for something that'll put his heart at ease. There's only one true answer. He must get down on his knees. Every sinner looks for something that will put his heart at ease. There's only one true answer. He must get down on his knees. What mega hit was that from, Ian? All 3 of these, by the way, got to number 1. All 3 of these so far. Probably the easiest, probably the most famous. I hope I die before I get old. Where was that from? And number 13. She said that living with me was bringing her down, for she'd never be free when I was around. She said that living with me was bringing her down, for she would never be free when I was around. There we go. All 5 number 1s, I believe, of 65. 5 lyrics for you to match to the songs. Oh, God. I forgot the 6th, didn't I? I'm so used to there only being 5 in this round. I forgot my 6th, which is also a number 1, I believe. My auntie told her I kissed a soldier. Now she won't buy me a rubber dolly. My auntie told her I kissed a soldier. Now she won't buy a rubber dolly. There you go. A bonus 6 lyrics this week. So surprising, it even took me by surprise. Right. On to our Dingbats round. Here's a bunch of albums from 1965, represented for you by some obscure pictures. What you have to do is look at the pictures, work it out, put them together, come up with the album. So there's number 15 there, a couple of likely pictures for you. Look closely at. Number 6. What on earth could that be? And number 17. Just a single picture for that one. Again, as always, feel free to pause and take your time and work it out. I would. Number 18. Bit repetitive. Number 19. It's nice to see a little bit of an appearance there from our friend Snow and Olaf. Okay. And a bit of Travolta. Right, to finish off our first half then, here are 6 pictures for our picture round. It's very simple. All you got to do is name these 6 very 65 friendly people, collection of people here. Who are they? Take another little bit of my lovely charades here while you're working on that. And while you're working that, I'll remind you that the reason that I do this is to raise money for Young Minds. I'm trying ever so hard to push up. We've hit a little bit of a stall recently, so it'd be great if you could just give it a push and just a little bit of money. I know it's a bit tight at the moment, but it's a very worthy cause, Young Minds UK, and particularly at the moment with the changes that are happening with schools. Young people are really suffering now. You might think back to your teenage days and think, oh, I wish I could have stayed in my bedroom for months on end and not had to go to school. But believe you me, it is not going down well. There are a lot of people who are really struggling with isolation, with the change, with the difficulties. And we're getting some very severe mental health issues. Young Minds UK do a wonderful job in helping and assisting young people in getting through this period. Please help me and donate. It's something I care a great deal about, and it would be wonderful to raise as much money as we possibly can for them. Okay, let's carry on into the second half of it. And here is a collection of album covers for you. Now, what of course I do is I cover up anything that tells you the artist or the name of the album, and you have to give me both of those, the name of the album and the. It gets quite hard in 65 because so few albums are anything other than the cover, the artist themselves on the cover. This one isn't, no. What's the album? Who's the artist? 27 does have the artist on, but you may not recognize him. What is this classic, and who's it by? At 28, I've had to go fucking out of face, but it is a classic album all the same. What is the classic album? Who's it by? Come on, you gotta get this one. I'd be very angry if anyone doesn't get this one right. Even to the point that I thought of not even bothering blocking out the faces. But never mind. Okay, I'll let you get on with it. Name of the album, please. Name of the artist. And finally, name of the album, please. Name of the artist. Okay, so this is the name that intro round where I'm going to play you on the piano 5 introductions, 65 songs. The catch is I'm not the world's best piano player, so you just have to try and work out what you can from them. Okay, so we're going to start with number 31. Name this intro to a very famous, name this song, which this is a very famous introduction to. I'll try it again. See, the problem is you're used to a lot of other things going on at the same time in the introduction, and that's just the tune of it. Anyway, that was 31. Let's go to 32. That one, all right. I was okay with that one. Right, let's try number 33 and see if that goes as well. Okay, so number 33, intro. There we go. Right, so 3 down, 2 more to go. Here comes number 34. Can you name this song from its introduction? A little bit harder, that one. Used to hear as well with that one, I think. I'll try one more time for you. Okay. Wow, that's a little bit harder. The previous two weren't as hard, were they? Right, so on to number 35. I'm going to try something that I have not done before here. 2 hands. It's not that clever. Kind of octaves. So here we go. Just get myself set up. There we go. Moving on to new levels of piano playing this week. Okay, hope you did all right with those. We'll move on. Okay, onto our covers round. I like the covers round very much. I like to play around with how we're doing it. So what I've got this week for you is I have 5 cover songs from 65, 5 songs that were covered in 65 and became big hits. All of these 5, I think, came in the top 50 or top 100 of the year, best-selling singles of the year. And on the right-hand side, I have the artists, but of course, they're not matched up correctly. What I do is match the song on the left to the artist who covered it on the right-hand side. Okay, song on the left from the right to the writer to the artist who covered it on the right-hand side. That's all we're looking for here. And that Wonderful World is the Sam Cooke Wonderful World, not the Louis Armstrong. Okay. Now, it's always a bit of a changing round coming up in our music quiz here. 65 was a big singles year, wasn't it? It was much more about singles than albums. But it was a year that's often reflected as being one of the great years for pop music. There were a lot of number ones. So what I've done is I've come up with a range here of clues, shall we say, to a number one from two number ones from 65. We've already covered quite a few of them. All you got to do is come up with the song. Come up with the artist. For example, number 41. Which knight of the realm couldn't cope the minute you're gone? There you go. I'm looking for the artist that I'm referring to, who had a number one there. And of course, the number one is in the clue. Number 42, who asked, "Where are you now?" before concerning herself with the Neighbours and Stoke City FC? The artist to me. 43, who got tired of waiting for you? 44, Unit 4+2's only chart topper was about which two building materials? Not looking for, obviously, the artist there. I've given it to you, Unit 4+2. But this was their only ever chart topper. Which two building materials? And number 45. Again, what did the Stones tell us to get off in their number one? What did the Stones tell us to get off? The year for the Stones, 65. Okay, we're nearly at the end now. We're pushing through. 46 is another trivia question. This was the year of the Electric Dylan controversy. In fact, it was the year of Dylan, really. This was the year of the Electric Dylan controversy, which we all know amongst the folkies of the time. But at which festival did Dylan unveil his new electric band? To consternation, apparently, from many people. So the Electric Dylan controversy, all those folkies thinking it's sold out by going electric. But what festival was it at that Dylan unveiled his new electric band? Wasn't really his band, was it? It was the Paul Butterworth Blues Band, wasn't it? I think he played alongside of, but you know what I mean. 47, still on Dylan. It was Dylan's year with 4 top 10 hits. Never really came close to anything like that again. He didn't have many top 10 hits after this. But which one of those 4 top 10 hits remains to this day his highest ever chart placing? Is it The Times They Are Changing? Is it Subterranean Homesick Blues? Is it Like a Rolling Stone, or is it Positively 4th Street? They were his 4 top 10 hits. Which one of those was the highest chart placing and remains his highest ever chart placing for a single? '48, the wonderful Tom Jones. I love Tom Jones, I really do. What a voice. What an incredible voice. I saw something on Twitter the other day, many of you may well have seen it, that claimed to be from some magazine, a list of the was it the 50 greatest voices or something? And Tom Jones, Sting was on it. But Tom Jones wasn't even. They don't know what they're talking about, do they? What a voice. Anyway, 65 was the beginning of Tom Jones. He had his first hit, his first number one hit as well, with It's Not Unusual this year. However, the truth is, he was only for the demo version. He had a big hit with he had a big flop, I mean, with a song called Chills and Fever before this happened. But he managed to get was a chance to sing this demo version, you know, when they want it recorded so the artist can hear what it sounds like, and he sang it. Now, when they played it to the intended artist, that artist rejected it. Having heard it, said, no, it's his song. It's Tom Jones, is this guy, whoever this guy's singing, he's the one who you that artist. Who was It's Not Unusual written for? Who turned it down because they thought Tom's demo was the one that should go forward. So in other words, somebody who is pretty much responsible for Tom Jones's career. Okay, 49. The Beatles have cropped up everywhere along here, and of course they always will, as best as I can get them in. The Beatles' Shea Stadium concert, the famous first, anyway, Shea Stadium concert took place in 1965. The first true stadium concert, really. A lot of stories, a lot of myths about that concert. So here are 4 facts, but only 3 of them are true. One of them is a fake. Which one is it? Is it that A, 56,000 people attended, a record attendance for a concert at that? Is it B, that Marvin Gaye was amongst the support acts? Is it C, that Ringo said the only way he could keep in time during the concert was to watch the others' bottoms? Or was it D, despite the size of the crowd, they ended up only using the house PA in the Shea Stadium? Which one of those is not true about the famed Beatles Shea Stadium concert of 65? Okay. Yeah. One of the biggest hits of 65, one of the great songs of all time, pop songs of all time, here is being described. All you've got to do is name that. It held the title of the most played song on American radio for 22 years. That's until 2019. Cher, although not known at the time, was one of the backing singers. Cilla Black initially had a bigger hit with it in the UK than the original artist. Notice only initially, but that might help you, that one. Brian Wilson called it the greatest song ever and claimed it's the music business, made him want to write again. Vanity Fair described it as the most erotic duet between men on record. It gives you a bit of a clue, doesn't it, if you don't know? On Jukebox Jury in the UK, all 4 panelists voted it a miss. And a top British DJ, we're not coming out this well, are we, called the original recording a dirge, saying he wouldn't play it in his toilet. That really might get it for you. It was the song for which the term wall of sound was coined. And in case you didn't know, it was coined actually by Andrew Oldham, the Stones manager. It was the song for which the term wall of sound was coined. Which song am I describing there? Hey, listen, I hope you've enjoyed that quiz. 65 is always an interesting one. I'm going to post the answers as soon as I can with it. Please remember to donate to my Just Giving page if you've enjoyed it at all. And don't forget to look at the answers and follow that. Please spread it around. I'd love to get numbers back up again to where they were in the past. Listen to this. Follow me on Twitter if you can at Stuart Hoskin, where you'll see me tell you about new ones that are coming up, but also can join in the music debate as things go along. Any feedback is welcome, and I do mean that. It would help me massively if there are things that you feel aren't going well or aren't as good or whatever. It can be really, really helpful. Meantime, also, please, that does help at all. Please subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. Listen, I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Please go and listen to the answers. See how you've done. Let me know how you've done. I love to know how people are getting on each week with them. Which ones are harder, which ones are less easy. I hope lockdown does